Hi, and thanks for joining. It's Patty from PS Paper Crafts, and I want to show you how to make another card using some of the new product. This is a suite called Bloom Where You're Planted, and I love that phrase, bloom where you're planted. I think it's great. Sometimes we're planted in a place that we're not happy about, but it's there. You're there for a reason, for a time, and you just have to bloom while you're there. I know it's been hard with COVID and where people have been just, having to stay in, and it's been really tough. But sometimes you're in a place for a reason, for a time such as this, and hopefully everybody's doing okay out there. But when I saw the name of the suite, I thought, oh, I love that. So the bundle is called Plentiful Plants. So it has this great stamp set, and then the dies that go with it. And then there's these paper lattice pieces, and we're going to use one of these, and they're pretty good. You get 10 of them, and they're already cut out. It's kind of like a laser cut, and they're really pretty. I don't know if you could see it here, but you could see it on the card. And I'm also using the Bloom While You're Planted Designer Series paper. So this is really cool. The one side is kind of a images, and then the other side is just a pattern. So I went through and tried to figure out which pattern I wanted to put this on, and I picked the one that we're using, but this is another, and the dies will actually cut these out, and the dies, there's a die that will cut this out. I don't know that you'd want to cut this out with the leaves and stuff, but this one is a good one, and this one, but you can also cut them out from this sheet. And then this is the other side, and there's some really nice patterns, and then some plain. So you could put this on here. I made a card yesterday with the birdhouse. I love it's called garden birdhouses, I think. There's 3 different birdhouses. It's really cool. I love it. So I used this paper for it, and I just kind of laid my lattice piece. This is the one we used, or we're going to use on today's card. And these are just all the papers. I'm just showing you each side. I love this brick. I thought it was a little too busy with this, but I think this will be great background. And then this is great because you can cut it in half and make a card just with half of it. And let me just get the other side. And this would be a great one too, because it's kind of plain. So lots of choices in this paper. Bloom where you're planted. And let's put this card away. I love this. This is the inside. So you have these you could have it on a post, or you can hang it from a branch. Love it, love it. So let's get our pieces out. I'm using Misty Moonlight as the card base, and that was this one pot that I used as well. And I'll do the die cutting off camera, but let's see. Let me get my piece here. So we're going to put the card like this and put this lattice here. And we want to stamp some of the pots. I'm stamping, let's see, I have them mounted already. I'm stamping this blue one with Misty Moonlight. Oh, and I wanted to show you there's also a macrame embossing folder, which I think is really cool. And you can cut these out, the macrame. Macrame's back in style again, which I was so happy. I went with some of my close friends to an arts and crafts fair, and they had macrame out, and it's really nice. I used to do that back in the 70s to show my age here. And I actually made a macrame like kitchen valance, for my kitchen window, and I always loved it. Then it went out of style, but everything comes back. So I'm going to just ink this up with Misty Moonlight, and we'll stamp it here. And I love the way it has like dark and shadows, and it's a little speckled. It really looks like a clay pot. And then we're going to do this other one with cinnamon cider. Kind of earthy looking, natural. And then we want to ink up or stamp on some designer series paper. So I actually stamped garden green ink on garden green paper. I thought the white was a little too light, so I wanted to do it right on garden green paper, or cardstock. So we'll just ink this up. And it's nice because it gives you the, let me just get it nice and inky. It gives you the veins on the leaves and everything. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty. And then we want to do, what else? Let me get that paper. I had to grab a piece of soft sea foam. So we're going to stamp this other one with just jade. You could do it all with garden green if you wanted to, just to save from having to do different colors. And the rest, well, let's do our sentiment while we're stamping. I picked Love You, and I'm going to do that again. You could do Love You so very much. Thank you so very much. To a dear friend, love you. You touched my heart. There's a lot of different choices here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the inside, who I'm sending it to, so I just stamped some plants, and I may do a sentiment in the future, or I may just leave it. So let's get our Misty Moonlight. And this is just a piece of a ½ inch piece of leftover when I cut down the insides of my card base, or my cards. I always have this ½ inch strip left over. So I like to use that for sentiments. Okay, so I think we're done stamping. Now I'm going to step away to do my die cutting, but I want to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut 2 of these out of the white, and then I'll show you how I cut it down to get this look. And then we'll use this pot and cut this, and this pot for this. I'm just going to punch this. We want to use this because we're going to use this for this one, and we're going to use this die for the pot for this one. What else am I doing? I'm doing the green. See, there's a lot of die cutting. That's why I want to step away. And I think that might be everything. So I'm going to step away, cut this out, and I'll be back. All right, so I think I cut everything out. I just wanted to show you these things. They just pop out so easily. You don't even need to rub it with that brush. They just really pop out. So let me just get them all out. And then even this little guy there. Okay, and we have, let me just put our pieces back on here so I don't lose sight of them. So these are all the pieces that we cut, and we'll just put them up here, get this aside. And then I want to show you how to cut one of these down. So let's choose this one, and I want to cut it so it looks like this. So we're just going to cut here and here, and you can trim it up when you're done. So let me see, cut here, and it just makes it smaller. I saw it in the catalog, not my idea. So I'm just gonna cut it, and then I'll trim it up a little bit. I thought it would work with different pots. I mean, it works with this one really nice. This is the one I'm using it with, and I'm gonna just snip the bottom of that a little bit because it does hang down a little bit. So you could just play with things. I tried to also use, where's my stamp set? This pot with it, but I didn't really care for it. So I do a lot of playing before I show you guys what I'm doing. Sometimes it's probably good to see what I play with, what I do, but sometimes it doesn't turn out so good. All right, so we have that done, and actually I am going to snip this. So if you see, it really doesn't fit this pot, but I wanted a smaller pot. So I'm just going to cut off and make it flat. And I think that just makes it easier. Okay, so we've got all our pieces. Let's do our sentiment. So I'm using this punch. It's the new punch. It's Banner's Pick-a-Punch. You know me, I always like the triple banner punch, but this one, it gives you a choice of pointing out or doing like a banner. So you just put it in and feed it through and punch. And if it's too big, you can go through again, or you could cut it down first. I think that's good. So now I'm going to cut the other side, and then it becomes a problem because you can't fit this in here. It doesn't go in. So I like to use a little strip of Post-it. I just tear it off and I'll put it on this end, and then I can feed it through. So see, you have like a handle for it. So that's just a little trick. And you just kind of line it up, and I think that looks good. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing with this blue. So this is a 1/2 inch, this is 3/4 of an inch. That's what I like to do when I do these kinds of sentiment labels. So the first time I'm going to just punch it. I'm getting all these little pieces. And then I want to line it up with this to get a feel for how long I need it to be. And then I'll just cut off some of this. And again, you're kind of eyeballing it. If it's too long, then you just go back. Get your handle, press it down on the sticky side, and then you have a place to hold it, or a piece to hold. And we'll just punch it, check it out, see how it looks, and punch it again. You don't want to go too short because then you have to start over again. Okay, so that's done. Let's get rid of some of these. So the next thing I wanted to do was just start putting things together. So first let's put this down. I used liquid glue, and I just really, I'm trying to see if there's two different sides. They kind of look the same. I really put dots just in, I don't know if you can see, but let me put it on white. If you see, there's solid and clear, you know, holes. So I just put glue on the solid ones, just a little bit on each of the solid ones. That's a little bit too much. And I'm going to just dot very, very lightly each corner. I think it'll stay down pretty good with the bigger dots, but I did want to get the corners done. So let's put this right on here and make sure it's all even all around. Okay, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this and put it on the card base. And then we can build our plants. Okay. So the way I did this was I put the plant onto the pot from behind. So I just kind of built everything up. So I'll just add this right behind and let it set for a few seconds. And I'm actually going to put it down upside down, and let's get the other one going just so that it dries good. So we'll put this one in here. Whoops, I've got glue on my fingers. Whenever I work with glue, I end up with it on my fingers. I should really have a silicone mat. That would be helpful. And then let's get this little tiny one. I love this one. It just has, there's no stamping on it. It just has all of the kind of embossing and cutting and all of that. So we'll put this right in this little brown planter. Okay, so then I tried to figure out where I need to put glue for this. So I'm just going to put it on these. Not going to put it on the tail because I ended up putting this on with dimensionals. I wasn't sure. And the thing is, you have to get a dimensional at the top here, and it's very tiny, so you just want to cut a little piece, but you want it to hold down nice. So before we put it on the card, we just want to get it all lined up here. So I would say build all your pots first, your planters. Isn't that pretty? I love that they have the macrame. Right up my alley. I'll tell you, this catalog, birdhouses and hanging pots, planters, pansies, all of this stuff is stuff that I love. So, and the turtle, I ordered the turtle. I can't wait for it to come in. It actually, the punch went on back order immediately. That was one of my first wants. So I was glad that it wasn't on back order for long, but it was on back order when I had placed my first order. So of course I had to place a second order. So, and then this one's going as is. So let me get my dimensionals out and let's lay everything out too. So we have this up top, and it's okay if it hangs over, it just can't hang over the card itself. And then I had this down. And see, that's why you need to have that down, whether you use dimensionals or glue. We have this, we need to attach this together. We'll just get it nice and centered. So I like to lay it out, look at it, see what I think, and then we can start adhering. So let me just put this down and put this aside. So we'll put some dimensionals. I put them on the pot and on the leaves, and then I cut a tiny, tiny piece for the top. But this is strong, and I think it holds nice, so you don't really have to worry about it. Just want to make sure they're not hanging over the side. So let me get my scissors, and I'm really going to cut this, and then I'm going to cut this down even smaller. I'll use one for this one and one for the other one. So I'm going to just, well, let me put this one down. This is what happens when you work with tiny pieces. Okay, so this one I'm just going to put right here. Whoops. All right, it's not showing through, although I have this little, I think it's the backing to it. Okay, so we'll take the backs off. And then we want to place it. I was trying to figure out whether I needed to place it on kind of one of those holes, but I don't think you need to. So I'm not. So you want to make sure that's nice and stuck down. I didn't do anything with that part. And let's put some dimensionals on this. I only put 2 on this. And then I put my little tiny piece. See if we have better luck with this one. Okay, and let's put this one right about here. Oops, I didn't take the backings off. Oh, I need you guys to tell me. I'm so worried about the little piece that I forgot the backings. Let's try this again. Might be better to glue it, but I really wanted them to pop up. There we go. Yay! And then I'm only going to put 1 on this. Make sure it's not showing through. And this one can just sit up here somewhere. Okay, and then we just put a couple on this and we're done with the outside. Phew! That was a little rough with the dimensionals and the glue on my fingers. Love you. We'll just put that right here. At first I didn't back it with the Misty Moonlight, and it kind of got lost. It's a little bit of a busy card, but I like it. So let's put this aside. On the inside, we are going to stamp some of the pots and the plants just on their own. So I'll use the Misty Moonlight for that big pot, and that is up here. And we'll just put it right here. And then I'm going to use the Garden Green for, now this one has two different sizes. So I did this on the inside. This is the bigger one on the outside. So I wanted this smaller one because I don't want it to take over the whole card. I want to be able to have space to write. And you just want to line it up to the top of the pot. So pretty. And then we'll do this other pot, this little kind of bean pot looking thing next to it. And you could go all the way across if you wanted something even smaller. But I thought the 2 was enough. And then we did these with just jade, just like we did on the outside. And then we're done with the card. We just put this inside. There's no glitz or anything like that. I don't think it needs it. I think there's plenty going on in this card. So let's put this aside. And I'm going to use my stamp and seal for this. I'm finding I like to use the glue for some things and the stamp and seal for other things. So I use both of them. I go back and forth. But I think for the inside, sometimes I was seeing the glue show through. Not all the time, and I'm not sure why, if it dried first or, you know, a little bit. But anyway, these are the cards. This is the stamp set, and I just love it. It's really my kind of thing. So thanks again for joining. I hope you give these a try. If you have any questions ever, let me know. Patty at pspapercrafts.com. Thanks so much for joining. Have a good one. Bye.